Hi guys, it's Dr. Zubin aka ZDoggMD. Look, I've made a lot of videos sort of ridiculing the anti-vaccine movement in a kind of harsh way that befits our sort of angst as healthcare providers. But today I want to talk directly to parents who have concerns about vaccines, and I want to do it as a parent. And I want to recognize that what you're trying to do is the best thing for your kids. And we have a lot of fears and concerns as parents. And so I'm going to try to talk about some of those things, and hopefully it'll give you something to think about, even if it doesn't change your mind. So maybe it's best to start with me, actually. As an internal medicine doctor, I was trained in medicine. I understand immunology. I took a lot of classes. But in 2010, when it was first sort of brought to my attention, this MMR autism purported link, my first thought as a parent of a young girl was, oh my gosh, could this be true? And all those fears as a parent took grip. Could we in medicine have missed something that is harmful, that's actually causing things like autism in our children? And it sort of temporally made sense. A lot of autism diagnoses happen around the time you get your vaccines. And to me as a dad, immediately I got panicked. As a physician, I got nervous because I thought, you know, there's so many things in medicine that we're wrong about. The classic teaching is 50% of what we're taught is going to be proven wrong, and we don't know which 50% it is, right? So I know fundamentally the weaknesses in Western medicine and our understanding of truth. That's why we keep studying it. Like things like Vioxx happen. Turns out we've been using it. Then the alarm is raised by doctors in the medical research community that this could be harmful. The next thing you know, we've changed our stance. We've taken it off the market. It's sort of an auto-regulatory process. Sometimes it takes longer than others. Now with vaccines, I thought this be the thing with vaccines back in 2010 when I wasn't really educated on this topic. So like any of you, like any parent, I decided to do my own research. Now, as a doctor, that doesn't mean going to Google and finding the first 3 links from a celebrity who knows nothing about science, okay? But who we feel as parents we might know better than that doctor who we see for 10 minutes once a year, because our system is so backwards that we're paid to do things to you instead of for you. We're not paid to have conversations and really talk through these things or even parse through what you read on the internet. So that's our fault as a system, right? But as a medical practitioner, I knew how to kind of research this. So number one, I went into the literature. I talked to colleagues and experts in the field. I then looked at the anti-vaccine side of it and looked at their arguments. It turns out this was entirely discredited. Andrew Wakefield, the doctor who brought it up, has been, his medical license has been removed and the article's been retracted. It was absolutely not only shoddy science, but straight up fraud. Now, that all being said, are we missing something? Is there something else happening? Nothing. No evidence showing with any recent rigor that autism is caused by our vaccination regimen. There's no evidence that changing the vaccination schedule helped. And all of this I learned, and so it became clear to me that even though I was terrified of giving my kids a bunch of shots and could there be any truth to this, after looking at all this, it was clear there wasn't. Now, if I were looking at it as a computer, I would say, well, even statistically, even if it did cause autism in a tiny portion of people, which it doesn't, the risk of getting a preventable illness such as measles or whooping cough, rubella, all these diseases that we thought had been wiped out and now are coming back because people aren't vaccinating, the risk of those is much higher, much higher. And the debility and mental retardation and death that can come from those diseases is staggering. Now, it's unethical to rely on others to get vaccinated to protect your unvaccinated child from illness, because that's effectively what's happening. And if that unvaccinated child gets sick and gives that disease to a child who cannot be vaccinated because they're too young or they have an immune deficiency, that is criminal. So we have to think about it morally and ethically as well, in addition to our own child and our concerns. Now, as parents, of course it feels weird to give them all these shots. It feels like we're doing something wrong. But a lot of times many times our intuitions are wrong. Now, how about those who feel like the medical establishment is biased and either we're paid off by big pharma or we've been educated by these pharmaceutical reps for years that vaccines are good? Listen, pediatricians, okay, the people who are administering these vaccines, are some of the most compassionate, caring people in the specialties and the least concerned with money. Do you know why? Because they make the least of any medical specialty. They are crazy passionate about vaccinating. So I think we should really take this off the table. Now, of course, Of course there are bad actors in medicine. Of course pharma has done some things that are terrible. Of course there's the influence of pharmaceutical companies on how doctors behave. This goes without a doubt. That's why at Turntable Health and other clinics around the country, we're trying to change that. We're trying to spend more time with patients, get a sense of what your hopes, dreams, fears are, and advocate for you based on what your wishes are. Now with vaccines, we feel that it's not just your choice, it's a choice that affects other children and people at risk. And so we're much more aggressive about pushing this. And that's why you'll often get a sense that we get defensive and a little aggressive around vaccines. It's not because we think we're smarter than you. It's not because we're hiding behind our degrees. It's because we've studied this and we understand this. And as parents, we believe in it. Both my children are fully vaccinated. Me and my wife are fully vaccinated. We believe in this. And don't get me wrong, when I took my kid to get all those shots, I was watching her getting poked and I felt terrible, and there's a subtle doubt, like, am I missing something? Because that's the daddy fear instinct in me, right? Now, Jenny McCarthy will say, listen to your mommy instinct. I will say, do not do that. Listen on balance to what the evidence is saying, and that's vaccinate your kids, not just for your kids, but for the community at large. Now, as a medical community, we're gonna do better to be less judgmental and to listen to our patients. The problem is our system is so jacked up that we're burning out, we're struggling to survive. So please forgive us if we failed you. We're gonna try to do better. But it means both of us working in concert, and it means rebuilding some of this trust that's been lost. So that's my message for parents. Now, to celebrities who dispense vaccine advice, and to so-called doctors like Andrew Wakefield, and to the legions of people on the internet who troll discussing conspiracy theories, accusing physicians of selling out and being profit motivated, being members of some Illuminati conspiracy, okay? I gotta say this.
You are absolutely correct. We know where you live. We will find you, enemies of public health. When you hear the chopper blades of our black helicopters, you'll know you can't run, you can't hide. Your flimsy tinfoil helmet is no protection against us. So watch your back, please. Leave a comment here telling us what you think. It will be like putting an X on your back, and when we find you, our vengeance will be complete.
So thanks, parents, for listening. And if you don't mind, share this video with someone you know who's concerned about vaccines. Together we can have this dialogue and we can make the world a healthier place. Thank you. ZDog out.
We're watching you.